We are not going to be intimidated by blacks or communists or Mayor Daley's mercenaries.
You have Frank Collin, always ready to speak, always ready to challenge.
The final solution to the Jewish question is exposing them as the leaders of international communism and race mixing.
Joke.
The stormtroops march with firm, determined pace.
It may have been easy to mistake this group as a ragtag band of buffoons, to be dismissed and ignored, not to be given undue attention. But despite their small numbers, the symbolism loomed large in how they dressed and what they represented.
Really appreciate the anguish that you create with your presence, especially for those who have tattoos on their arm, those who lost. You're smiling in sort of almost a kind of...
Waiting for the chance to reply.
Yeah, but my question should not provoke a smile in you, Mr. Collin.
Not only do I appreciate it, I calculated upon it. I use the hysteria of the Jewish community in Skokie especially to propel the issue of First Amendment rights for National Socialists and for people who speak up for the white people.
A set of laws proposed to ban us, take away our symbols, ban our uniform, our literature, our assembly, everything. And by threatening to go into Skokie, at the same time exercising our rights within the law, we were able to break the system down. Backposed ordinances and legislation, and the party is now on firm legal ground.
The man that I'm trying to get now is a fanatic. I want people in the party who are willing to die for the movement, even though they may not even be sure we're going to win tomorrow. If you're not willing to kill, if you're not willing to shoot somebody for your ideals, you don't really believe in it.
The Skokie authorities, the Gentile authorities there, the mayor, says that he's not going to do anything to prevent JDL counter-demonstrations, which are admittedly violent. If that doesn't show clearly what side the law is on, where the tyranny really is, and who is that tyranny, there's nothing more I can say about it.
It was discovered he was a Jew himself. His real name is Joseph Cohen. He was born, according to his father, born on November 2nd, 1944, and he was born in Chicago, but he was conceived in February 1943 in Dachau concentration camp.
A year later, Collin was convicted of child molestation and served 3 years of a 7-year sentence. Today, he lives quietly in the Midwest. He lives quietly in the Midwest.
That is coming out. About 200 years before Christ, up until right at about the time of Christ, in other words, about 2,000 years ago, there now appears that there were wealthy West African and North African blacks who left Africa on a pilgrimage and came, if you can believe this or not, but there's solid proof for it now, to southern Illinois. Now I'll explain how that happened. In 1982, our time, there was a guy who was going along southern Illinois. He was a cave hunter. And he was, I don't know if you're familiar with southern Illinois at all, on the Ohio River. It's just honeycombed with caves, thousands of caves. They have not all been explored by any means. What we're telling you, I mean, this is just in a nutshell, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of this, not just in our magazine, believe me. You're going to be seeing this on TV. It's bound to burst out, because it's really known in the archaeological community. You've had...
I begin by saying most people think in order to go to an ancient sacred site of great power and drama, you have to go to the Great Pyramid of Egypt or Stonehenge in Britain. But that's not true. Only 45 miles due northwest of this spot is one of the world's premier sacred sites. A place you can go to, not just read about or theorize about, but a tangible place of great spiritual power that has exerted itself on this continent, not for hundreds of years, but for thousands of years. And although it is not as famous as Stonehenge or the Great Pyramid, nonetheless is well known around the world. And this place is known as Rock Lake. That's its modern name. Originally known as Tirana. And its story begins in historic times in the early 19th century, just about 200 years ago. The very first European pioneers were crossing from what is now Milwaukee, and then just a settlement westward. And as they crossed the plains, they came to a very thick Tannerite forest. And behind this forest was this beautiful lake, 3 miles long from north to south, 1 3/4 miles wide from east to west.
On the aqua view. So I dove on it. I couldn't see much because the visibility is really bad. But on this camera, this has got a video camera, so it taped everything. And you know, we're looking at stuff and we couldn't quite tell that it taped the whole thing. So we figured, maybe we found something, maybe we didn't. So went back home, looked at the videotape, and what the videotape shows, I mean, the visibility was getting bad, but you can see it really clearly. What you can see, no doubt about it, is a stone wall that goes around in a perfect circle. It's about 15 feet across. It's 18 feet down, between 16 and 18 feet down. And the stone wall is 3 tiers, 3 levels of stone. And they're like bricks. It's weird. They're like stone that's been made kind of like a brick. And the edge of the wall slopes up a little. So we think that maybe this was a pyramid one time, the top fell down or something. And it's right on the edge of the old stream bed here.